Big breaking news! Ange Postecoglou has been sacked by Nottingham Forest. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Today's video is going to center around this man right here, Ange Postecoglou, who today has been sacked by Nottingham Forest from his role as the new head coach. He's only been in charge, just over a month or so since the previous international break, taking over and succeeding from Nuno Espirito Santo. Well, 8 games later in all competitions, he has been sacked. Mere minutes after the club's latest defeat today at the hands of Chelsea, the Blues round out 3-0 winners at the City Ground in another embarrassing and humiliating display by Nottingham Forest. A display that even saw the owner, Mr. Marinakis, leave his seat, go into his box, and I think from there, the writing was definitely on the wall. We'd obviously heard a lot of rumours during the international break of the club talking to certain managers having a short list of potential successors to Postecoglou. But they decided to stick with him for this game. It didn't end well at all, and Postecoglou has been sacked. We're going to be talking all about this big breaking news story. We're going to be talking all about Postecoglou, Forest, where they both go from here, and all of that kind of stuff, along with so much more. But before we get into all of that, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you are new. Both things will always and very greatly appreciated. And of course, I encourage you all to get involved in the comment section down below. Use and abuse that section, people. Talk to me on this big breaking news story. Let me know what you guys are thinking and feeling down there. Use and abuse that comment section, people, with your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it. And without further ado, we're going to get on with the topic of conversation ourselves. We're talking Forest, Postecoglou, a new successor to be found by the club, and everything else in between. Wow. I mean, like I say, not even 20 minutes or so had passed since the final whistle blowing at the City Ground today. Chelsea winning by 3-0. A brilliant second half performance from the Blues, and Forest just ran out of steam, ran out of belief, and it was over from the first goal, really. And in terms of Ange's short reign as the new head coach, look, I think anybody would tell you that not many people gave this a cat in hell's chance of actually succeeding. A lot of people were scratching their heads, and a lot of people were left laughing at Nottingham Forest over the prospect of appointing Ange Postecoglou as the new head coach. Despite that, obviously, he managed to find success with Spurs on some level, winning the Europa League. Everyone could have told you that if you just step back a minute and if you looked at the bigger picture, this was not going to work. Anybody and everybody would have told you that. Forest fans, some of them obviously saw that bigger picture. I feel like some of them were too busy believing and drinking on the Mr. Marinakis Kool-Aid, of course, that he can do no wrong and we always win, and that kind of belief. Well, it hasn't gone well. And, you've gone from the tried and tested Nuno Espirito Santo, the safe Nuno Espirito Santo, to obviously this absolute train wreck. Forest went from being a very well-disciplined side, defensively solid, dangerous on the counter-attack, good at defending set pieces, to just throwing that all out the window over the course of 8 games in all competitions. I can't stress that enough. In 8 games in all competitions, they looked like a completely different side. Couldn't defend. Couldn't really. They looked dangerous going forward, but they looked toothless at times. They did look toothless at times. Couldn't defend from set pieces. They just struggled. They struggled so much under this manager. It definitely wasn't going to work, and there were a number of factors why it wasn't going to work. You can't go from a manager who is so defensively minded, disciplined, pragmatic in Nuno Espirito Santo, and go the completely other end of the spectrum in terms of open, adventurous, throws caution to the wind in Ange Postecoglou. It just doesn't work, especially when you have the players that have been drilled for the past couple of years under Nuno's system to instantly change without a bit of a bridge in between, to go from one end to the other, it just was not going to work. It was absolutely unbelievable that they thought it would in such a short space of time. He hadn't even had a pre-season. The players that were brought in were seemingly more for a Postecoglou type of manager than a Nuno one. So it did seem like this kind of change was coming, and I feel like it was sped up by Nuno calling out the ownership, Nuno calling out this, calling out that, his bust-ups reportedly with the head of global football or whatever his title was called in Edu. So it did seem like Nuno's exit was sped up because of that. Postecoglou comes in, but it just didn't have that new manager bounce at all. It just did not have the sort of galvanizing sort of changes in the air sort of belief and mentality that a lot of people were at Nottingham Forest were obviously hoping for. I just feel like it's been a complete car crash, a complete train wreck, and we shouldn't be blaming Ange, because everybody knew what they were going to get Forest from Ange. Everybody should have known what they were going to get from Ange. A very stubborn approach, an approach that basically means that he's not going to adapt. It's the players that have to adapt to him. We all said this. We all said this kind of stuff when he was at Spurs. We all saw these flaws in his management style. We all saw like the good football at times, but that football dried up pretty quickly. And like I say, if you step back and you looked at the bigger picture, there was absolutely no way whatsoever that this was going to succeed on any level. On any level, this was never going to succeed. And I feel like, Forest fans, rather than be angry at Ange, you should have known. You should have known. If you're going to be angry at anyone, be angry at your owner. Be angry at your owner. It's what happens when non-footballing people decide to get involved in footballing conversations. They make stupid mistakes like this. Now, I'm not saying that sacking Nuno was the mistake. The mistake here is appointing someone who is the complete opposite of Nuno. Someone completely different. Someone who just has a different idea, and obviously has taken over a squad that he's failing to adapt to, and then he wants them to adapt to him. He's not playing to their strengths, more to their weaknesses. It was just a complete train wreck from start to finish. Like I say, don't be angry at Ange because you all knew, or you should have known, that this is who he is, mate, that kind of thing. Be angry at your owner for making that horrible mistake. And now, the rumours is that Sean Dyche is going to be taking over. Sean Dyche. So you're basically going to be reverting somewhat back to type with Sean Dyche, because he's very, very similar to Nuno. So this whole Ange thing, potentially getting in players for someone like Ange to come in, has just been completely blown out of the water if you do get someone like Sean Dyche. No plan, no thinking, no bridge between these two polar opposite of managers. Just he won Tottenham a trophy. He seemingly did the impossible. Let's bring him in. And if that doesn't explain why that trophies aren't just the be all and end all, you need to look at the bigger overall picture, then I don't know what will. Because as great as what that Europa League triumph was for Tottenham last season, any Tottenham fan would have told you that picking Ange was a very, very, very big mistake. A very big mistake. Anybody else from a rival fan or neutral fan perspective would have actually probably told you the same. Like I say, I think the only people that were somewhat hyped about Ange, somewhat on the belief train of Ange, were the ones that were obviously Marinakis fanboys, and ones that probably were just riding out on copium. Just just the hope that this would work. But it hasn't. It's gone terribly wrong. Like I say, it was barely 20 minutes after the final whistle had blown. I mean, even when you look at it, like, the writing was on the wall for seemingly a long time before that. You go into the international break, there's all these rumours that Forest are talking to potential candidates to succeed him. And then, of course, you go into the game against Chelsea. Now, why they didn't do it during the international break, because it was unlikely they were going to get anything from Chelsea anyway. But I guess they thought, home game, we'll give him one more shot. Even if we do go down, we go down swinging. They didn't really do that. They had an okay first half. They had one or two opportunities that they just couldn't put away. But then in the second half, they were just dead out on their feet. They were just completely gone. And then, of course, I think when it went 2-0, there was a quick-fire double from Chelsea. When it went 2-0, the picture on Sky, at least, panned over to where the Forest owner was sat throughout the game, and he was gone. He was gone, and apparently he retired to his private box. And I think we could all tell from that shot, from that moment, that Postecoglou's fate was sealed. We all somewhat knew that was the case. But no, a big win for Chelsea and a sacking for Ange Postecoglou as Forest fall to yet another defeat. They could end this weekend in the relegation zone with their current position of 17th, depending on how other results go. But on the upside for Ange, you can't lose that record of winning something in your second season if you don't make it to your second season at a club. So, there you go, Ange. There's something positive for you. You can't lose that record if you don't actually make it to your second season, which you didn't. But no, Forest, allegedly, it's potentially going to be Sean Dyche. I know that he somewhat lives or he loves the area of Nottingham. So somewhat makes sense in that regard. I actually did say that he probably should have been the manager after Nuno, but yeah, this guy turned up instead. Yeah, take that L. Take that L, Forest fans. Take that L, Marinakis. A horrible, horrific appointment. Possibly was Frank de Boer's worse? Was his worst for Crystal Palace? I don't know, but it's an interesting debate. Only one goal in 8 games. In 5 Premier League games, should I say. 1 goal in 5 Premier League games. No wins during the 8 games in all competitions. An absolutely horrendous, abysmal record. Ange Postecoglou has today been sacked from his position as the head coach of Nottingham Forest. Guys, let me know what you guys are thinking and feeling. These are, of course, just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever we call it, of this guy. So get involved in the conversation and the comment section down below. Would love to hear what you have to say on this. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way out if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you are new. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. And, of course, as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I will see and speak with you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Speak to you all again very, very soon.